Hey, it's Ruby. Welcome back to my channel. It is the end of the month, which means it's time for my May wrap up. I love wrap ups. I think it's one of my favorite videos to film and to watch because I just love when everybody finishes the book and they formulate their thoughts and then everybody can compare their thoughts. I just think it's really cool. So I will probably forever film wrap ups because I love them. Anyway, this was a pretty good reading month. I ended up reading 12 books, which is the most that I've read. I think in February I read 11 books, but I averaged 10 books a month and I read 12. So that was pretty good. I did not have any 5 stars. I had one, but I don't really count it because it was a reread. But I had a lot of 4 stars, so it was pretty solid. Let's get to them. Let's see what I read. I do have my reading journal because listen, I forget everything almost immediately. So I have my reading journal, so I have my star ratings, and then I always make it a point now to write down the characters' names because I will forget. I will forget for sure. So let's start off in the beginning. In the beginning, I read Fourth Wing. It was my reread. I listened to the graphic audio because I saw that they had it on Hoopla. And I love graphic audios. I think they're super cool. So I listened to the one for Fourth Wing and damn, it was good. I really loved the different cast of characters, the voices, the dragons. I really like this one. I gave this 5 stars last year when I read it, and I still gave it 5 stars after listening to the graphic audio. I know a lot of people don't like this book, say it's like complete trash, but I love it. I think it's entertaining. I love the dragons, the war college, the romance, the trials. I think everything was for me. So I really like that. After that, I picked up a book that had been on my TBR previously. And every time something's on my TBR and I don't get to it, I feel bad. So I picked this one up. It is Ruby Spencer's Whiskey Year. And I thought it was okay. It was nothing too special. It was a very generic romance story. That being said, I don't regret reading it. It's just not one that I'll ever pick up again, that I'll be thinking about again. You know what I mean? So I did list it on my Pango just because I feel like somebody else will enjoy it because I already did. So in this one, we follow Ruby Spencer, who is a New Yorker that ends up just dropping everything and moving to Scotland because she's just feeling like she got stuck in the corporate world and she's just not happy. So her plan is to move to Scotland and write a cookbook and have that published and lead a fulfilling life. However, once she gets there, she has some writer's block. She really is having difficulties with this cookbook and it's just not working out. So she ends up just living her life in Scotland. She meets the people that live in the little town that she's in, and she ends up building friendships. There's romance. Very generic romance book, but I don't regret it. I did give it 2 stars, which might be a little harsh. I guess I would say more like 2.5, but you know, forgettable. Then after that, I finally finished Ground of Midnight. I feel like I've been on this forever because I have, but man, the beginning was slow. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm filming a whole reading vlog where I literally am reading the entirety of the Throne of Glass series, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here because you'll see all that. You'll see all my thoughts. But the first 60% was slow, and then the last 40% was really good, and then the ending was really good, although I already knew it was going to happen because it's kind of impossible not to have spoilers at this point because this is an older series. But I still ended up giving it 4.25 stars. I thought it was a solid sequel, but I still like Throne of Glass more. So we'll see how I like Heir of Fire now that she's off on her adventure and we're gonna meet other people. I hope that I love it. I'm nervous. I'm nervous because a lot of people seem to love Queen of Shadows and Kingdom of Ash, and I don't hear too much about the rest. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm still gonna read them all. I hope that I love them. Let's see. After that, I went traveling. I went to Indiana and I started a new reading vlog, which I have it linked up here in a card. Definitely check it out. this was probably my favorite reading vlog that I've done ever. I don't know why. I just felt like everything aligned. I just really had fun. But the first one for the popular TikTok reads was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I love Abby Jimenez. I will read anything that she puts out. And I haven't read her original trilogy, but I totally intend to, so that I read every single one of her books. But this one is book 3 in this trilogy, and they're all interconnected books. They're not a series, so you don't have to read them all. But I definitely recommend that you do, especially the first book, Part of Your World, because the characters from both Part of Your World and Yours Truly show up in this. But at the very least, definitely read Part of Your World before you read this, because I feel like this one will be more impactful. It'll hit better if you read that one first. But what happened here? So in this one, we follow Emma and Justin. And in the beginning of the book, Justin posts to Reddit about a situation that has happened to him where his ex-girlfriend has now fallen in love with his best friend, or vice versa, and they're living together. They're living their best lives. They love each other, soulmates. And he is complaining to Reddit that this keeps happening to him. Like, he dates someone, they break up, that woman finds her soulmate, and he is like, am I the asshole for being mad about this, especially because it's my best friend? And so Emma ends up reading the Reddit post because her friend's like, hey, look at this guy's post. Isn't this exactly what happens to you? So she reaches out to him, they connect, and we have the story. Superficially, it's about that. But Abby does such a good job in all her books to give you a little more, to bring in some more serious topics. And it's just such a good book. I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I definitely recommend all 3. And my favorite, I think, is still Yours Truly, the second one. Because the first 75% of that book, I ate it up. I love the notes exchanging. It was just so cute. But all her books are amazing. Definitely read them all because they're so good. Then I moved on to another popular TikTok book, Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Listen, I feel like if you saw the reading vlog, you know what happened with this. I don't even know what happened. I'm still a little confused. I don't know how I felt about it. And I still don't know how I feel about it. Did I like it? Did I not like it? I just felt like it felt so mundane. It felt like I was following 2 random teenagers' lives, and that was it. It felt very slice of life to me, even though it wasn't slice of life. Like, I think I mentioned in the reading vlog, we did have exposition, we did have a conflict, but I think I said it, where I was washing dishes, Shannon was cleaning her kitchen. It was just so mundane. I think that's like the best way to explain it. But that being said, I think I still enjoyed it because I'm still thinking about it and I'm still considering going on to the second book. But if you watch the reading vlog, you know that at the end I was pissed. Watch the reading vlog for my thoughts because it was pretty funny. But yeah, I ended up giving this a mid 3 stars because I don't know. Did I like it? Did I not? I'm not sure. I want to say yes, enough that I gave it 3 stars. And then I finished out the reading vlog with Funny Story by Emily Henry, which I don't own it because I refuse to buy the hardcover. I'm going to wait for the paperback, but I did listen. No, I didn't listen to the audiobook. I read the ebook and it was good. It was everything that you can expect from Emily Henry. There was witty banter. There was 2 lovable characters. After I read it, I still love Happy Place more, but it's because I deeply connected to Happy Place. Funny Story though, the first half of the book, I was giddy. I was smiling. I loved their friendship. It was so cute. In that book, we follow Miles and Daphne, and Miles was described as being Nick coded, Nick from New Girl, and I can see it. I don't think it's like 100%, but definitely he does have Nick vibes. And then Daphne is just a quiet introvert who has been living her life for others. She's described as a wee girl because I feel like she just doesn't have her own identity at the beginning of the book. She always is part of a pair. So she literally ended up moving to her fiance's hometown. Her friends are his friends. Her life is his life. Like, she really doesn't have anything of her own. And so her whole personality is her fiance. And in the beginning of the book, he ends up going to his bachelor party because they're about to get married. And when he comes back the next day from the bachelor party, he breaks up with her. He literally dumps her and tells her that he realized that his best friend Petra, who was at the bachelor party with him, is the one. And so she's devastated, obviously. There's so much that happens. Watch the reading vlog, because I felt like I was definitely giving you my reactions in that one for this book. But yeah, Petra ends up breaking up with her boyfriend also, and the boyfriend happens to be Miles. Miles shows up at Daphne and Peter's house and is like, I got this letter. Is she here? And she's like, no. He broke up with me too. They're long gone. It's just us. And so she ends up moving in with Miles, and it's really good. I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I think it's really fun. The more serious topics that were covered, I felt like I couldn't really relate. The familial issues, I couldn't relate. So I think that's what kept me from the 5-star, but it was still a really fun time. Definitely recommended for sure. Let's see. Now I have to refer to my reading journal because I don't have physical copies of anything else. I picked up Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I listened to this audiobook because I have Throne of the Fallen, and I heard that you should read this original trilogy before moving on to that one. And anytime that happens, I'm gonna do it. When I wanted to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, people said read Caraval trilogy first, and I did it. So I'm being a good girl and I'm doing it for this one. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of zoned out for a big part of the audiobook, and I'm not gonna listen to it again. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars. In it, we follow our main character. Don't know her name, but that's why I have my reading journal. Because I know that I forget all these things. Where is it? Here it is. Emilia. We follow Emilia, and Emilia ends up losing her sister, and she is devastated. She wants to find out who murdered her sister, and she literally, the whole book is about that, her trying to find out who murdered her sister and why. And she ends up summoning a freaking Prince of Hell, Prince Wrath, and her and Wrath team up to find out who killed her sister, because he's also invested for different reasons. And so they team up to find out who killed Victoria, the sister. But honestly, it was just okay. I am going to continue because, like I said, I do want to read Throne of the Fallen. But from what I gather, Carrie Maniscalco herself said that this first book was YA, but by book 2, we're adult. And I'm assuming that means there's going to be smut, spice, which I just hope that it's not all about that. But from what I hear, it is. I'm still going to push through, though, because I'm going to do it for Throne of the Fallen. I hope that that's good. And you know what? I've heard that Throne of the Fallen follows Envy. And in book 1, Envy sucked. So I don't know. Apparently, I'm going to fall in love with Envy. It's very much giving me Jax, where Jax sucked in Caraval. Like, he was evil. That's exactly what's happening with Envy. But we'll see. Next up, I picked up an e-arc of Rom-Comers by Catherine Center. And I did do a reading vlog. It's with my, like, the ultimate bookish video. I'll link it up in a card. But I did have full reactions for this, so I'm not going to talk too much about it here. But this comes out in June 11th, I believe, and I really liked it. It was fun. I have read The Bodyguard and Hello Stranger by Catherine Center, and I gave both of those 4 stars. I also gave this one 4 stars. I feel like it's very much on that level. If you like those, you'll probably like this one too, because I thought it was really good. In that one, we follow Emma. We follow Emma and Charlie. Emma is a screenwriter, so is Charlie, but Emma didn't really reach her full potential. She didn't really go after her dreams because her dad had a devastating, life-altering accident, and she's now his caretaker. And because of that, she's kind of just given up her life and dedicated herself to taking care of her dad, which she has no regrets about. She loves her family. It's her dad, her little sister, and then her. And she wanted her little sister to go on to college and live a fulfilling life. So the deal was that for the first 10 years, she would take care of her dad. She would live with him and take care of him while she went and the sister went and got her degree and all that. And then they would switch. And the next 10 years, the sister would take over. And we've reached the 10-year mark. But she just doesn't feel like the sister's ready for this huge responsibility that is the 24/7 care of their dad. And in the beginning of the book, her agent calls her and tells her, I have the deal of the lifetime. Charlie Yates, which is apparently, Charlie Yates is the best, the GOAT of screenwriting, the best to ever do it. And he wrote this trash rom-com script. And she's like, what do you want me for? He's amazing. He is the best there ever was. And the agent's like, no, trust me, this script is garbage. He didn't even want to write it. There's this whole thing. So she ends up getting convinced to move to LA to work with Charlie and rewrite this script. And a lot happens. We have romance, we have the family issues. And honestly, I told you in the reading vlog, but Charlie is mean. He's not a nice dude. He does a lot of questionable things, but I still like the book. I still gave it 4 stars, so definitely check it out. Like I said, it comes out in June, so not too far off. It was good. 4 stars. Pretty good. Pretty solid. After that, let's see. What did I read after that? I read When in Rome. I listened to the audiobook of When in Rome by Sarah Adams. And the reason that I picked this up is because I feel like a ton of people love this book. I really was curious because I really love romance. And I didn't love this one. It was okay, but there was nothing special about it. I didn't fall in love with the characters or the story, if I'm being honest. But in this one, we follow Amelia and Noah. Amelia is a huge pop star, like huge pop star. And Noah is a small town baker. At the beginning of the book, Amelia is really burnt out with her life, with her pop star life. She feels like she really needs a break and nobody's giving it to her. Nobody is listening to her. So she just decides to not tell anybody where she's going and run away and take a break. So she ends up going to Rome, Kentucky, because she has her reasons, but she ends up going to Rome and her car breaks down in the front yard of this random dude, which is Noah. And yeah, she ends up spending time in the city, or in the little town, I should say, because it's not a city. And she meets new people. She gets the much needed break that she deserves. And it was just okay. Again, a very generic romance story. I gave it 2 stars. I wasn't going to go on to book 2 because I didn't love this one. But then I was like, what the heck? Let me just pick it up, because I read the synopsis and we follow his youngest sister. He has 3 sisters, and in the second one, practice makes perfect. We follow the youngest sister, which I really did like her in the book. I felt like I actually wrote about her and she was just a little side character, but I liked her enough. So I was like, well, I'm going to give it a shot. Right now, I'm 25% into the audiobook and oh my goodness, I'm freaking loving it. Loving it so much. So much. Like, if it continues like this, I might even give it 5 stars. It's 25% in, but I love both of the characters. I love the sister and the love interest. It's so good right now, but let's not get carried away. We'll talk about it in the next month's wrap up. Next up, I read another e-arc called The God and the Gumiho, and I believe this comes out June 4th. And I picked this one up because it sounded super interesting, like nothing I've read before. I know that people were saying it was giving K-drama vibes, but I guess a little bit. A little bit. But there's also fictional characters, made up characters. So I guess so, but a little bit. So in this one, we follow two characters. We follow Kim Hani, and then we follow Soka. And Kim Hani is a Gumiho, which is a nine-tailed fox. And she's just living her life. She's pretty bored because you can now no longer kill men. And if you don't know about Korean mythology, it does help a little bit, but she does explain it. I only knew a little bit about it because I've always been obsessed with Japanese culture. As a kid, I loved anime, and I still do. I still watch anime, but I used to like research all sorts of Japanese things, and I learned about kitsune, so that led to learning about gumiho. And so gumiho are usually portrayed as nine-tailed foxes. They're always women, and they kind of have a succubus vibe. So they lure men with their beauty, and then they literally eat like their heart and their liver, I think. For sure their livers. And they can also suck up their souls. It's a lot. But in this one, it's a little more PG. Maybe PG-13. But yeah, this has been banned because this very infamous Gumiho, the Scarlet Fox, went on this crazy binge. And because of that, now you can't just go killing men, eating their livers. So she's like just bored. She's really just bored. She's working as a barista, and in the beginning of the book, something happens that causes her to team up with the second main character, Soka. Soka is a dokebi, and dokebi are Korean goblins. Not like Gringotts goblins, not like Harry Potter goblins. Korean goblins, there's different kinds. It's really not relevant for the book, but just know that he seems to be like a bachelor goblin, in the sense that he looks like a human, and he's incredibly attractive, and that's the point. They're supposed to be like that. But he, in the book, is a fallen god, and he's the fallen trickster god. Think Loki. And the reason that he has been banished to the mortal realm is because he tried to lead a revolution to overthrow his brother, kind of like Zeus. He's the god of the gods. And it didn't work out. And so his brother punished him, banished him to the mortal realm, and gave him a task. And he's like, you will not be restored to your full godliness and welcome back home until you fulfill this. That is your punishment. And so Soka is working as a detective in Usinsi, which is a fictional city in Korea. And in this fictional city, we have all kinds of mythical creatures. We have dokebi, we have gumiho, we have grim reapers, we have all kinds of characters, but there's shaman that work with them to mask them so that the humans, the mortals, don't freak out and they can live amongst them. So Soka's working as a detective, and he ends up teaming up with Kim Hani to figure out this two actually mysteries, and it's fun. It wasn't like amazing, but I did enjoy my time. I did like them together. I thought they had good chemistry, but again, it wasn't like a 5 stars, but I had a good time. What did I end up giving it? I ended up giving it 3.5 stars, I think. It's definitely worth it if you like Korean mythology, if you like K-dramas, because it is kind of goofy, silly, but with these fictional characters, like with these monsters. So yeah, what did I give it? 3.5 stars, but I'm definitely buying the physical copy and then continuing on because it was different, and I like that. I like that it was different. So yeah, after that I read Magnolia Parks. I listened to the audiobook. This was so freaking random. I was just looking for an audiobook and I was like, what the heck, because this is such a polarizing book. People either love it or they hate it. And I didn't know how I was going to feel about it because it was described as Gossip Girl, but make it British. And I've never really watched Gossip Girl when I was younger. I've seen bits and pieces and clips, and I know the characters, but I never sat down to actually watch the show. From what I've seen, though, I know it was going to be hella dramatic. So I picked it up, and damn, it was so freaking toxic. So freaking toxic. Essentially, we follow two characters, but we also follow their little friend group. They're always on the page, the friend group. What are their names? Magnolia and BJ. Magnolia and BJ grew up together. They've known each other since they're kids, and they've always been in love with each other. They're, you know, that love that you find in your youth and your forever love. Lucky enough that you met your soulmate so young. That type of love. But they end up breaking up 3 years prior to the beginning of this book because he cheats on her. And you're literally going to find this out immediately. And as soon as I met all the characters and we get into the world, I knew exactly what happened and who he cheated with. So very predictable book, but wow, the drama, the toxicity, all these people are so freaking toxic. Magnolia and BJ are so toxic with each other. Like, sometimes I was like, wow. But it's like, you know, that train wreck, that's something that you know is bad and you don't even want to watch it, but you just can't help it. That is how I felt about this freaking book. Like, it was so messed up. Everything. There was not a single part where I was like, oh, cute. Even the character, like, there was one character that was like, okay, and I was like feeling for him a little bit, but even at that, he was complicit to some messed up stuff. So I was just like, no, absolutely not. And I gave it 4 stars. I don't know. It's, if you don't like toxicity in relationships, you're gonna see some shit in this. So if you are at all sensitive to, look up trigger warnings, I guess. But dang, so toxic, so trashy. 4 stars. We'll be continuing on with the series for sure. And then the last book that I am actually still reading, but I will for sure finish it by tomorrow, which for you is today, I guess. Beach read. I'm doing a whole reading vlog, reading Emily Henry's catalog, so you'll see my thoughts on that. As of now, I don't think it's going to be 5-star, but I don't think it'll be under 4 stars. We'll see. I'm not even halfway yet, so we'll see. Sorry if this video is long, and if it's not, then great. But literally the sun's going down already. Did you read any of these books? Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you plan to check out the rom-commers or the God and the Gumiho, because if you do, I want to know what you thought when you read them. Especially the God and the Gumiho, because I don't know how it was good. It wasn't great, but I felt like I had a good time. I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next week with another bookshelf tour. Bye.